I think my approach was different with this album. One of the things that was very different was with Dawn Seeker, I had the songs almost all completed musically, all the layers and textures of my music, and then I would send them to the vocalist. So a lot of times the vocalist, I think, worked around a lot of different sound that was going on. And I know that with some of the singers, that's a bit tougher, because if you already have a lot of layers and different instruments playing different lines, it becomes a bit harder to pick out a good vocal melodic line, at least for some singers it is. And so with this album, I actually approached it a little differently, where I actually just kind of laid down mostly piano and maybe a little percussion. So I kept everything stripped down, and then I would send it in a kind of an early demo state, which is a little embarrassing always, you know, sending something that's not polished, because you think, oh boy, you know, what are they going to think? But all the singers are real professional. They understand what that process is, you know, doing demos, and they return just fantastic ideas. And so that was a little different. And also, I think with this album, I felt more at ease with my writing. I felt more comfortable exploring some different aspects of my musical influences. During the last couple of years, you know, I've revisited a lot of 80s music in my own collection and been listening to that. I've been listening to a lot of folk and I guess you'd call it more acoustic-based music. Azure Ray, who I love, one of my favorite bands now. Escobar, William Fitzsimmons, Joshua Radin, kind of that sound of that's much more acoustic based. And so yeah, what I've been listening to has influenced obviously the sound of this album, and so I think I'm a little more comfortable with writing, and I felt more like I could just approach a song and write what I felt, as opposed to having to contour it so specifically to create a certain mood or sound. I just wanted to tell more stories with this album, and I think this album is a little bit of a move away from what you would maybe call the standard, gosh, I don't know what they call it, but it's that whole line of kind of new agey, electronic, ethereal, female-fronted sound, which, you know, there's a lot of great stuff out there and some really good bands that obviously were innovators with that. But I felt that that area and arena had been explored a lot already, and I didn't want to, again, even though it was complimentary, I didn't want to be considered, oh, you know, if you like this, you'll like, you know, if you like Delirium, or you like Baligomingo, or you like Enigma, or, you know, any of these groups, you'll like Sleepthief, which again it's not because those groups don't do great stuff, and obviously a lot of the vocalists have worked with those groups before, so I respect that, but I just wanted to take it in a little different direction. I know that some people probably won't like that, because, you know, there is a certain group of people who just kind of like more ambient, pretty music, and I like that as well, but I felt that song structure and approach needed to be a little more aggressive, a little more assertive, and a little more song-based maybe than the first album. I think the sounds on this album, it's a little less electronica sounding. There's a little more natural sound to the songs, although they're very big and very layered. A lot of harmony still. I mean, I think what it is that the core of my writing style, the melodic aspect, is still there. So you can definitely tell it's my music and it's the style I write in, but the overall sonic quality may be a little surprising to some people. So that's a little different. And also, you know, brought from the first album, I worked again with Caroline Labelle and Christy Thirst, Kirsty Hawkshaw, Jody Quine, and Roberta Carter Harrison. But then I also worked with Corey Palermo, who did the first, you know, has the first single off the album, World Gone Crazy. Fantastic singer, was introduced to him. Actually, he introduced himself just last year. Amazing to think. And we've recorded several songs, two of which are on this album. One of them, which is going to be an extra non-album track a couple months down the line. And then I worked with Joanna Stevens, who back in law school, I think is when I heard the Solar Twins album, was a big fan of her stuff, was put in touch with her by Carmen Rizzo. I didn't know she was living in Los Angeles. She's just a fantastic person too, as well. Really smart, really insightful, sensitive person, deep thinker, but just a killer performer in the studio. I mean, she's she's not just a studio singer. I mean, she's a legitimate powerhouse singer like Corey is. And then I also worked with Zoe Johnston, who has been probably one of my favorite singers for, I would say, for 10 years. I mean, I think there's no one that sounds like her. I think she's got one of the most distinctive and beautiful voices, and her songwriting skills are tops. I mean, Happenstances, which was her acoustic album that came out about a year and a half, 2 years ago, still I think is probably one of the best albums I own, and I just think she's really incomparable as far as you can't really compare her to anyone because she stands out, and she's just an amazing, just a great person. One of the loveliest people I know, and sweet and so creative. So it was really enjoyable to bring those people on, try some different things, and establish new friendships and relationships. So I think those are all things that are different about Labyrinthine Heart, and hopefully people will enjoy it as the first one, and find some new fans, and people will see where it goes. Well, I think my hopes for this album are that obviously it'll draw new listeners, that it will satisfy the fans of the first album, and they'll find something in it to enjoy. I hope it it would be nice. It'd be great to get some type of the music into some type of film or commercial. I've never really been interested in actually being recognized, or the fame aspect doesn't appeal to me at all, just because I kind of like my privacy and kind of my private existence. Even though I love interacting with people and I'm a social person, I don't think I'd like being recognized, which is always, it's a little strange and amusing, but I think that it would be nice, obviously, both from a financial and from a creative aspect, to get the music maybe more heard, because I think it's the kind of music that a lot of people from different cultures, and I think a lot of people who like different types of music would like this kind of music, because I think it has a general appeal, although you never know. I mean, it may not appeal to some out there, but the hope would be obviously to get it heard by more people and be able to do other things. So yeah.